Hi, I'm Dr. Roseann, and this is It's Going to Be Okay with Dr. Roseann, where we dive into all things natural solutions so you have actionable tools and tips for no matter what is going on. I'm also a special needs mom. If you don't know me and you're not following me, I get it. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And I'm all about those natural solutions. And you can hop over to our Facebook group and join for free. You can go to drroseann.com/group. You also can search natural solutions if you want to find your tribe. And guess what? Stop doing the same thing and take action and find natural ways to get your ADHD child's brain turned on or any other clinical issue. So let's talk about hyperfocusing and ADHD. Is it an Achilles heel or is it a superpower? Well, I think it's pretty arguable. It could be both. I know so many like highly successful people that have ADHD. And it was really interesting. Recently, I was filmed for a documentary about ADHD and natural solutions. Hello. They called me up and said, "Oh, could you talk about natural solutions for ADHD?" And I was like, 1,000 times, yes, I can. How exciting. So that will be coming out this year. It's really going to be a game changer. They have people talking on camera about the dangers of psychiatric medication and why we're not talking about things like neurofeedback and diet and PMF, all these things that we're talking about, and you're educating yourself. So pat yourself on the back, but hyperfocusing, right? So what is it? What is overfocused ADHD? So, I joked that the house could be burning down and a kid with ADHD wouldn't notice. It's kind of true, right? So when a child with ADHD, right? Their brain is prone to understimulation on a QEEG brain map. For those of you who are in our brain behavior reset program, you get a QEEG brain map. If you're remote, we do a brain check, we do statistical analysis, and you can see, are there too many unfocused brain waves and not enough focused brain waves? That is what an ADHD brain looks like. It's clear cut. You're able to see what else is going on, anxiety, OCD, whatever else is going on, gut dysbiosis. You can see really cool things on a brain map. So when somebody's overfocused, it means that they can hyper focus in areas of preferred interests. And so here's where it's a superpower. When you have a socially acceptable or something that's academic or useful and you can hyper focus, hello, let's talk about people like Michael Phelps. There's so many actors that have ADD. The movie crew that came here, the director, the person speaking had ADD. They can get it done, right? Somebody recently said to me, did you have Dr. Rowe? Did you have ADHD? And I was like, I probably did, but I did so many sessions of neuro long before I did a brain map. I can't say that I didn't. But I definitely was a daydreamer growing up. I was bored out of my mind in high school. Holy guacamole. And I would sit in class and read books not related to school. I read a lot of Jackie Collins novels in high school, just saying. But I was just bored. And then I went to college and I was like, wow, I love this. This is the best. And it was great. And I had a great experience and I whizzed right through it and graduated early with a doctoral program. So I don't know, but I have a power of hyperfocus and I can bang out a book. I can write things. I can do that. And so if you have a kid who can really hyperfocus, they might really shine in these areas. It's just their brain can't tolerate boredom, right? So let's talk about the advantages and disadvantage of an overfocused brain, right? Because there are, as we talked about, hey, Dr. Rowe, I'm banging out a book next month, whole book, gonna do it, gonna get it done in a month. I've done it 2 other times and it's going to be a bestseller and it's going to change the planet. How about that? So let's talk about what are some of the advantages. So one, you can focus for hours at a time, right? You heard me say, I can get stuff done. I can get it done, right? It's why a lot of people love me. I'm a fast action taker, and you can learn things quicker and then gain those skills quicker, right? So they excel in the things they love. That is a definite advantage. They typically don't procrastinate in those areas, man. And they really have a lot of confidence in their preferred areas, right? I just joked that, hello, I'm going to bang out a book and I'm a great writer. Hello, I get the confidence in there. But you hear this like, oh, I'm really good at this, mom. And, those other things. You don't get the same talk when when it's the non-preferred areas. So disadvantages, shifting, right? Shifting, transitioning, doing other tasks, getting lost in time. Definite time blindness is a big problem in ADHD. I feel like I have an internal clock and I can tell you within 10 or 15 minutes without having seen a clock in hours what time it is. I wouldn't say that's a typical thing for people, and I'm a great hyper focuser. But most people at hyper focus lose time, right? This hyper focusing interferes with academics. They'll miss schools. They'll miss things that need constant reminders. You can get easily overwhelmed when they try to bring you back to the low interest areas. And the low interest areas, you might have a lot of negative self-talk. You might think you're terrible at something because it's not easy, like the hyper focus area, right? And I think great conversations with kids about these things are really important for them to understand themselves as a learner, as a person. What's your superpower? Understanding nobody's really good at everything. I mean, I've tested so many kids in my 22 years when I did neuropsych testing. Don't call me. I don't do it anymore, please. People offer me obscene amounts of money to test their kids. And I'm like, no, it takes me like 30 hours to test a kid. So, and write the report and more than that. But it is most of the time kids had like this definite strength. It didn't matter what the condition was, and we lead with our strengths. But it's just that due to the dysregulation of an ADHD brain versus a neurotypical brain, I don't know where those people are, but there are some kids with neurotypical brains. They just don't recover as quickly from disappointment. So there's a lot of disappointments that can happen when somebody has ADHD in an area, right? So let's talk about some general tips to help over focus kids do better in low interest areas. It's not easy, but it is an important lesson that not everything's going to be amazing and fun. We certainly can give our ADD kids who have these amazing hyper focusing skills. We can love to put them in educational environments where they thrive, right? Always talk about my dyslexic and even my Max. Like I put them in educational environments that suited their learning style, right? I was able to do that. One is homeschooled and another goes to a Montessori school. And he's very self-regulated and it was a right choice for him. It's not there. So let's talk about what we can do, right? So first of all, we're going to activate the brain. Now, whether that's amazing tools like our Calm PMF or neurofeedback, there are lots of ways to activate your brain. You can do at-home exercises called brain gym exercises. You can go to occupational therapy. We want to get our brain stimulated working, all that other stuff. I always teach kids about how to see the end result. If you're asking a kid to do something and they don't know what they're working towards, you're not going to get anywhere. You can role play, right? We can't just assume our kids know what to do. And you can't just say, well, they should like it. Their sister does it. How many times do I hear that? Right? You got to make the implicit explicit. Tell them what you're looking for. Don't leave it a mystery, right? Have the child talk back to you and explain what they're doing, help understand, keep the conversation positive. You can set reminders. Today's cell phones are amazing with timers, with actual words on them. Try to make boring things exciting, right? That's not always the case, but sometimes excitement for an ADHD kid is simply movement. And they're such kinesthetic learners. They're almost exclusively kinesthetic visual learners, and they tend to be poor auditory learners. So tap into those things that in their brain is going to be more stimulated, more exciting. If you're struggling with a kid, ask other family members to help and absolutely have open and honest conversations with your ADHD child about their gifts. and their weaknesses and how to harness the superpower of hyperfocusing in the areas that are harder. Really, really important to do that. So, hyperfocusing, I hope I got you really thinking about hyperfocusing. If you have a child that you're really struggling with and you really need help, well, all you have to do is hop over to drroseann.com/help. We just take a tiny amount of people in our brain behavior reset program, and every year we'll take less. So if you want to really make change and you want to get the best clinical care anywhere on the planet, well, that's us. And we take the best of what science to show us what works with people with ADHD, and we safely and naturally help you change the behaviors and the brain, right? That's why it's behavior reset, brain behavior reset program. So if you are on this journey and you're feeling frustrated, I know you got an actionable tip and tool, start using them.